Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation.
Is it possible, at certain moments we cannot imagine, a horse can add its sufferings together, the non-stop jerks and jabs that are its daily life, and turn them into grief? What use is grief to a horse?
From New York, this is Theater Talk. I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post.
I'm the producer, Susan Haskins. Michael, we have really fabulous guests tonight, and please introduce them.
Indeed, there is a terrific revival of Peter Shaffer's modern classic, Equus, a play about a boy who blinds horses and the psychiatrist who understands why he does that. Wonderful cast, and we're very happy to have the two stars of the play tonight. Our first guest is probably the most famous actor, I would say, in the world. He is the face of the Harry Potter franchise, Richard Griffiths. As Uncle Vernon cannot go anywhere in the world without being recognized, I'm sure.
But probably. But the nice part about my part in Harry Potter is I play somebody who's really horrible to kids, which I'm very happy to do because I can't stand them. And I really think it would be the case for saying they should all be balding all at the age of 9 when they lose their charm, you know. Think of the social problems we'd solve right there. At a stroke, my dear. But no, what it means, I can be crappy to kids and they all just go, yeah, that's him.
That's good.
But actually... This
I was going to
is
say,
the
now
one
you
who's the most
have
famous.
some part in the movie too, right? You're with the Harry Potter.
Yes,
thing?
yes. I have a minor role.
You're the boy with the glasses.
I'm the kid with the glasses.
Yes.
Yes.
And the scar.
And the scar, but not the green eyes.
No.
Because they tried the contact lenses for 3 weeks and I had a violent and aggressive reaction to them. So.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe and Richard Griffiths, welcome to Theater Talk and congratulations on the success of Equus. It's really a terrific
Thank
production.
you very much.
Well, thank you for having us, Mike.
And thank you for coming back, Richard.
Oh, no, my pleasure.
You're one of our most treasured guests when you were here when you won the Tony Award for Best Voice.
There it is.
Daniel,
That's what it is.
Oh, cool.
that's
That's
not.
it. I had it carved on there.
You're kidding.
No, it's a seal.
Oh, you're going to set a trend. This is
well,
very fabulous. Can we get this camera? This is a Tony Award ring.
yeah,
That's
well,
pretty cool,
I'm
man.
surprised they don't actually give you a ring or something for doing it. You know, it was, you know, if you win the Super Bowl, you get a fabulous ring from
Yeah.
the team, a commemorative ring. It wouldn't kill anybody to do a nice ring for
Not
people
just some
and
little
say,
statue for
you
the
know,
bathroom.
somebody won the Tony in 5024, whatever it was. You know, you know, let's hope
Daniel,
it's
if you
around
play
for a
your
long
cards
time.
right, you can have one of those rings.
Yeah, but you have to buy it yourself.
Yeah,
I'm afraid,
that's
you know.
fine. Well, I can do that. That's easy. You know, I don't have to win one now. It's
They don't
fantastic.
come in Christmas crackers, I swear to God.
Daniel, let me ask you, terrific performance really in Equus. Is this a play that you chose to do deliberately just to sort of get away from the whole Harry Potter thing? In other words, you want to show us that you are a real actor, a real stage actor who can do serious drama.
But that's the thing is that I wasn't really a stage actor. Tom. I'd never done any stage, particularly. I'd done a couple of appearances kind of thing, but I'd never done a full show. And so I just wanted, it was as much to prove to myself that I could do it, to see if I could, because also both my parents were actors, and they were both stage actors. And so I'd kind of been taken to the theatre a lot as a kid, and I always wanted to eventually do something. It almost seemed like an inevitability that I would at some point want to go on stage. And it just so happened that this came along as a possibility, and it kind of just went from there. It wasn't, I mean, I suppose that it wasn't calculated in the sense that we thought, oh good, this is the play to do to move away from it.
Right.
But it was something we knew could have that effect of separating myself from the character, or being seen as an actor rather than a character. And so, but my parents were very good. They said, if you really are serious about doing this, then you have to train. And so I did 18 months work of training before I even went into the rehearsal room.
That was what was so interesting to me, because we've found in Broadway that screen acting and stage acting are very separate skills. And I was so impressed by your concentration, which of course you have as a well-known stage actor, but you were so focused. And I was amazed that you hadn't done any stage work.
But I mean, I don't think people sort of talk about the difference between stage and film, and I don't think there should be a massive difference. I mean, technically, there is obviously certain things about being heard, but other than that, as long as you kind of you just need the thought processes and things are all the same. People think you need to be bigger because you're on stage, it's just not true.
Well, you would
right?
think so, Daniel, but Michael and I have seen some really remarkably bad performances by very well-known screen actors. They do not have the presence. They do not have the focus.
It's very depressing to hear him say that, because
Yeah.
I've just been coming to this insight myself only after a period of 34 years.
18 months and he's got it down like that.
Quick on the uptake. Sorry. But I do believe they are kindred things. But there are theatre skills.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can't actually have a career in movie and then just expect to swan into a theatre somewhere and have all the equipment to go. It's a different set of tools that you use, or you use your body and your physical skills in a different way. The intellectual part is exactly what Dan was saying, that there is absolutely no difference. And I've found, funnily enough, it began around the time of the History Boys. I began to see that there was this kinship between for instance, in theatre, most people, I used to know a guy, bless him, he's passed on now, but I used to know this guy who, when I was at the Royal Shakespeare Company a million years ago, when the casting list went up and everybody clustered around, what am I playing? And he used to have this little book, which he got from his days at the National Theatre, and he swore that everybody had one. I can't believe that. And in the back of this book, it was a breakdown of all Shakespeare's plays according to the cast, and each member of the cast, the dramatis personae, had a number, and this number was the number of lines of dialogue they had, so that you could measure your status instantly by referring to this ready reckoner and say, Love's Labour's Lost, playing, Longueville. Oh God, 12 lines. That's you out with the washing, and obviously very, very, very low status. And I remember thinking, well, that was a bunch of crap. That was just stupid to think like that, because. But there are people in theatre who believe that. Now, in cinema, the number of lines that you have is almost completely irrelevant. Do you remember the famous story about... have you got time for this?
Yeah, we do.
I'm digressing already.
Daniel warned us.
Director went to John Ford. I think it was King Vidor. Hi, Patrick. And he went to John Ford, and Mr. Ford said, "Oh, hi, King." He said, "What do you do?" He said, "What the hell have you done with John Wayne?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, he's a star. I've just seen Stagecoach. He's a star. Yeah, he is. But he can't act to save his life. What did you do? He said, you got time to come in. And they went in, they settled down in his lounge, and they had some drinks and stuff, and he threaded up the picture because he had it in his house, and they put a bed sheet up or something, screen, and they ran the movie in his lounge, and they sat there and they changed reels and had a few more drinks, and then he said, "I still don't get it." He said, "The guy is a star, I'm afraid. I mean, what have you done? I work with this guy. He can't even walk straight, He has tiny feet, and he kind of,
That's why, apparently.
What have you done?" He said, "I made him shut up." What? He said, "If you count, I think he speaks 14 times in the movie. It's nothing to do with the dialogue. It's to do with the smouldering looks, the beautiful face, the figure, the guy's attitude. John Wayne was a solid piece of American manhood that was most desired in American society at the time."
But now one have seen John Wayne's King Lear,
but
though.
it was
That's
about
right.
images.
Wisely, he never came to
about
Broadway.
images,
Yeah.
you see, but he never came to Broadway because he couldn't handle dialogue. That's a completely different skill set. Right. And the damnable part that's taken me 34 years to get what he's just said is that if you can pick up on the two sets of skills, you will find that they dovetail absolutely, so that you can use both in all media, so long as you have them. But you have to equip yourself.
But
Jen,
where did
what
you
was-
get them? Yeah.
I got them, I think, just because, in terms of the technical side of things.
Yes, for the stage.
From working with a woman called Barbara Houseman, who was my voice coach for 18 months, and I went to her kind of every few weeks, and we'd do a session, we built, and then closer to the time of going to rehearsals, we went into a few theatres and just practiced, just being on stage and doing it. And, I think it's very important, because as Richard says, some screen actors are guilty of that thing. There was a whole spate of it in London, I remember a few years back, of kind of film actors going onto stage assuming they would just be able to do it. I mean, how hard can it be to fill a theatre? And they ended up either not being heard or screaming and wrecking their voice. And I remember I went to Barbara Houseman, this voice coach, and the first thing I said was, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to do it in the proper way, because there's also an awareness that people wouldn't be expecting much. You know, they certainly wouldn't have expected me to do that. And the thing my dad's always said is you have to wrong foot people. And you know, and so by doing that, I was just simply giving myself...
What does that mean, wrong foot people?
Sorry, wrong foot people, just don't give, you know, be
Catch them
better
off
than
guard,
they expect you to be.
Be surprising.
Be surprising.
You mean like Vanessa Redgrave? Does she wrong foot people?
All the time.
And not just when she's on stage.
That's right. And I don't even dance, you know. I've been wrong-footed every single time I've met her.
Richard, did you see the original production of Equus in 71
No,
or 72?
at the time, no.
My sense of talking to people who did see it originally on Broadway in London is that this play, I mean, had a huge impact and the theatrical landscape in England when it opened. I mean, no one had seen a play like this before. Do you have any sense of that at the time when it was going on?
Oh,
the impact
yes.
the play
No,
had?
I was at, eventually arrived in Stratford in 74, and, you know, the thing, I was at the Royal Shakespeare Company, and this play, Equus, was a creature of the National Theatre. And at the time, the two companies cordially despised each other and would spit on each other's work. Just, you know, very much in the same way the presidential election situation seems to be, incapable of giving the other guy a fair shake, because it's political, you know. And so we paid it no attention. We heard it was successful. Oh, you think that's successful? Fine, you know, see if we can. And anyway, I was doing stuff in Stratford, so I simply couldn't get to London to see it, if I even cared, which at the time I didn't. And then the play had its life, which was a big life in London, but even bigger in New York.
It ran
Huge, yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Really?
and then it stopped, and it was never seen again.
Yeah.
It was never seen again. And 30 years go by, and our producer in London, David Pugh, has often spoken to us about how this play was the one that inspired him to involve himself in theatre at all. My own agent, Simon Beresford, has the same experience. And there's an astonishing number of people who did see the play back then, whose lives have been sort of transformed by it. Certainly their appreciation of theatre has been utterly transformed. And so with all of that sort of pressure, David Pugh pressed and pressed on Peter Shaffer to let us do it again. And he relented, and the big problem was him and me and the director. And once we got past that, we were allowed to do it again. So this is the first time for 30 years anybody's done it at all. In that time, I never understood the reviews early on. I was disappointed to see 1 or 2 reviews now refer to R.D. Lang. And I thought, well, I still don't know what that means, you know. I don't know what the R.D. Lang argument was.
Yes, what is it?
I don't know. It's about something to do with everything's okay as long as... I don't know.
I think that it's the basic idea of it is that by shutting off insanity or any kind of mental disturbance, then you eliminate any kind of creativity or
Yes.
Oh, right,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
and that art and things can be born out of mania.
You embrace the insanity.
Which a lot of it is. I mean, Vincent Gauguin, you know,
Yes.
crazy as a coot,
but
obviously...
didn't have a good time of it,
No.
unfortunately.
I
But
mean-
that is what this play is
Yes,
getting at. I
yes.
mean, you create this, you commit this horrible act, but in a way, I mean, it's an act of this unbridled passion that you have, and you, as the doctor treating him, suddenly become envious of this boy's
passion. Yeah.
Because you have a passionless life.
He has experienced his humanity at an extreme level, which is what humans kind of used to do quite routinely, and now we don't do at all. Everything about civilized society is to protect us from that. And there is a sense that we're being deliberately bred by society and our culture and our mores away from that. We used to be called hunter-gatherers, if you remember, but now we're gatherers. And nobody does much hunting anymore, except, you know, very safely off the back of a horse with loads of dogs in front, making sure that the nasty wolf doesn't hurt anybody.
The other thing for Peter was that he was always very, very keen that the boy, whoever was going to play Alan, be the age that Alan was. And that's one of the kind of advantages there was in me, was that I came to it with a certain amount of experience, no theatre experience at all, but I'd done a bit of, I'd done acting.
And he was 17.
Yeah, and I was 17 when I did it in London, and so that was a major selling point, I think, for David Pugh, our producer in London, who I knew by amazing coincidence, who my mother had worked with when I was born, and I spent the first kind of 6 months of my life in a carry cot under David's desk. And then I never really knew David growing up. And then 17 years later, I was suddenly in a production of his play, one of his plays. So
What was your first meeting with Peter Shaffer like?
it was weird. The first time I met him was actually, because originally Ken Branagh was going to direct it.
Right.
And so he put together this workshop. And it was Adrian Lester playing Dysart. And fantastic cast he got in just to do his workshop. We sat down for 2 days in the Old Vic rehearsal rooms, and I remember on the second day I called my dad up and said, "Oh, Dad, just so you know, I think we're doing like a little production of the play this evening just for Peter Shaffer to see." And my dad on the other end of the phone was thinking, "What? This is not regular, this doesn't happen." But because I'd not known any different, I thought, oh, this must be how it works. And so Peter Shaffer came up all 6 floors of the Old Vic
He's
Theatre.
82 now.
He's 82
Yeah,
now, isn't
yeah.
he? And,
I'm 62, I don't like stairs either. I don't know how he does it at all.
and we put on this very kind of ramshackle production just for him, and I think his agent was there. And that was the first time I met him. But then I didn't see him for kind of probably about a year, and then we sat down, me and Thea, who was by that point, because Ken had gone
Right,
off.
the new director.
Thea Sharrock, who's directed us in this, who was marvellous. She and him, we all sat down and had another kind of meeting, and he's a lovely guy. I mean,
Did he give you any pointers or advice on playing the part?
by that point it was kind of too early to give advice, although he did, he had an awareness that it's quite a, for both our parts, it's quite an experience kind of playing them and doing a long run without sounding too pretentious and pompous, but kind of living with this character for so long. It sort of, I think, took its toll on some actors and some, in a way, apparently. And so I think that he sort of made me aware of that, but nothing
So is
besides.
it taking a toll on you?
Not really. I mean, there's kind of a certain amount of physical tiredness
Yes,
at
because
the end
you
of the week.
get a workout, yes.
Because you do get a workout, and you're on. We're both on stage. I mean, I have a little moment off at the beginning, but we're on stage the whole time.
I am the guy that's going crazy.
And you are there the whole time going crazy. It's quite an extraordinary thing. Now,
Every day I go crazy.
Did you
It's been
see? Did you see the movie with Richard Burton?
Yes, a long time ago. I couldn't make any sense
They
of it
didn't
at
work
all.
all that well.
The monologues work marvellously.
Yeah, but
apparently they're all shot on the same day. Because like a speech takes as long to shoot as it takes to say it.
Yeah. Well,
he came and played it on Broadway to rehearse for the movie. Richard Burton did.
Oh, that's what that was about. Oh,
he
I
came
see.
into the Broadway.
Oh, right, because
production.
Tony Perkins was asked to
That's
step
right.
down for a while to let him
So
do
Burton
it.
could come in and rehearse.
Right.
Oh, that was why.
Yes, yes.
All is
Isn't that
now clear. I
interesting?
never
Now, so-
knew that.
yeah.
Now, well,
Fascinating. That's a hell of a rehearsal.
Peter Shaffer told me that when Burton agreed to do it, he said, I really like the speeches. And I'll get around to the other bits later, because he wasn't so good on memorizing the lines. I'll get around to the other bits later. And Peter said, by the other bits, do you mean the rest of my play? And he, by the way, went on stage, Burton, early on, without knowing most of the lines. And with John Dexter and Peter Shaffer, they went to his hotel room suite for the weekend and just drilled the lines into him. Made him stop drinking and drilled the lines
It's a
into him.
measure of
we
his
did that?
decline because he was famous, as a younger man, Burton, for knowing the entire text.
If we did that, we'd be terrified.
Well, yes, I would actually be in court. I can imagine. Yeah, under false pretenses. They want their money back.
Daniel, it's been much hyped that you are nude for a large part of this play, which has all to do with the plot. But when you went into that, did you give it a thought of?
We have to find the
being
word
self-conscious?
large here first.
Listen, I have to confess, I'm the person who came up with the line, Harry Potter is waving his other wand. That was me. Peter was not happy with that line.
I hesitate to tell you this, but you were not the one who came up with that line.
Well, all right. It's all right. I'm not as clever as I
there before you even got to see it.
Plutarch. Yeah.
I think it was it could be that or Polybius, one of the two, certainly.
It was.
It
You
was
know what?
around.
If you saw, this is the thing I can't stand about some people who kind of, in a way, it's that thing of I love the speeches. It's there's a certain type of actor that loves bits of the play or film or whatever and signs on for those bits mainly, and the rest can sort of just work itself out. But for me, if you sign on to do a play, you sign on knowing full well everything you will have to do in that play. You've read the script, you know what it involves, and if it suddenly comes down to the fact that you get nervous about it, well, tough. You've agreed, and people are relying on you to fill in your share of this play, and so you just do it. There's no time for... I have no time for that kind of procrastination or doubt in that way. I mean, it's just, and it also, as you say, it's integral to the plot.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if it... it's the way it was sort of discussed, I don't know really how it was received over here, but I mean, in England, before anybody had seen the play and before a lot of the people writing these articles had read the play, they had kind of come to the conclusion that it was some gratuitous pornographic scene we were doing, which is so the opposite of what it is in reality. So it was just another part of the play which I had to do, and have become, am gradually becoming more. I mean, it is nerve-wracking and it is scary, but once you accept the fact that everyone in the audience knows you're not going to look your best, so who cares? Just do it,
You look
You don't look that bad, I guess.
Well, Grace Under Fire, I tell you, it's still there.
There was this other thing in the press when the show opened in London. We were just discussing it before we started taping. This thing went around that the theater was mobbed after the first preview, and you all did climb out a window to escape.
Yeah, that's what we call pure pew.
Oh, right. This is a David Pugh, your producer, plant in the press.
Was that
Look at me,
Indeed?
can I get through a window? I don't think so. There was either the front door or the back door. I used to choose which one I'd go out of. But the thought of going up through a fire vent, I mean, there would be a wet ripping noise and there'd be like blood-flavoured toothpaste would hit the pavement. That would be me if I went through a window. Dear Lord, help us. No, absolutely not. No,
That was an
garbage.
apocryphal window
yeah.
story. I just wanted to ask you, Daniel, new to the theater, new to the stage, you're working with one of the great stage actors in your country.
Absolutely.
What is it that you've learned from him? Or do you sort of, when you're working with him, what impresses you the most about his stage ability?
Well, the thing
Sorry
is...
to put you on the spot there.
The thing is that people always come up to me and say, use phrases like, master of his craft and things like that, and it's like, yeah, but the best thing about him is that in the rehearsal period, he's just a good person, and he treats people well, and that is the best thing you can possibly do. I mean, and he is, but and he is brilliant, and it's fantastic being on stage with him. And the main thing about the actual technical side of things is that he changes it every night, and it's different every night, and it's fresh every night, that's what you're... somebody asked me a question the other day, how do you make it fresh every night? And you just think, well, you remember that people are paying exorbitant amounts of money to come and see you, and you can't afford, and it has to be the first time you've done it for them, and so you just have to get on with it. And I think learning from Richard, what's brilliant about him is that he can, if I change a line reading or whatever on stage, Richard is quick enough and listens so brilliantly that he will just go with it and be able to use it to make the scene fresh. And so I think that's the main thing I've learned, is just about keeping the play as a sort of living thing and not just resting on your laurels and knowing something's good, not setting anything.
That's the most astonishingly kind thing to say, isn't it? If I'd been as loquacious and eloquent as that when I was your age, I think I'd be president of the world. It's really kind. Thank you, Martin.
Not at all, but it's true.
All right, we have to wrap it up. It's been great talking to you. And may I ask you, Richard, the last time we were here, you gave us a lovely little bit of verse about Helen of Troy. Do you have another little something in your pocket
Well,
you
if
can pull
I
out for
thought
us?
I would have brought one.
What are your limericks?
A limerick. Oh, no, you're Fortis Cabras.
Are they?
You need something clean.
Yes, we do.
We did. There's a lovely thing we do for little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Kids like this.
We can try and do this together if you
We'll
want.
do this, all right.
Okay.
We'll do a tempo like that. Only they mustn't hear it because sound will cut their throats if they hear this. So We will do the timing, you see, and the cameras will see the timing, but they won't hear it. Right, here we go. There was a man and he was an
encyclopedia.
No, we're in different keys.
Oh, wait, okay.
That's it. There was a man and he was an encyclopedia. He knew the weight of the moon to an ounce and the name of every star. He knew all about etymology, Hebrew, Shebrew, Jujuology, syntax, hobnail, boot-tax. He was full as a Pickford van.
Lovely. Tony Awards all around. Daniel Radcliffe, Richard Griffiths, terrific performances in Equus at the Broadhurst Theatre. Thanks a lot for being our guest
Dr.
tonight.
Phil, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I
No,
got a
it
real
was
thrill doing that at the end.
Do you dream often?
Yes.